What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Adventures of TNT. Now, today we're not doing any reactions. It's not a reaction video.
What?
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna be talking. We're gonna be talking to you guys because a lot of times in our videos, we always get people that make comments like, um, say things like, "Why are so many black people reacting to rock and roll music?" Or when did black people start listening to heavy metal? And when I was growing up and when I was coming up, people were always calling me a devil worshiper, or black people would say that I'm evil and for listening to heavy metal music and blah blah blah.
Wow.
And so we kind of wanted to address that in this video and give a perspective of like growing up as a black person and living in whichever household you grew up in, and how your family talked about heavy metal music or rock music, and just give a little perspective on that. Now, I know sometimes, race isn't really an issue with this, because I know some of y'all have had the same experience. Because even for myself growing up listening to rock or heavy metal, I had a similar experience. People would tell me that I was a devil worshiper, or
Really?
I was evil, or I was going to hell. And so sometimes it's not race, but then it's religious based.
Yeah.
And so
definitely.
we just kind of want to discuss that and shine some light onto this topic, because I did a post in our community chat recently, which if you guys aren't a part of our community chat, definitely check it out. We have a lot of good, interesting posts there. But it was basically asking the question if rock music is the devil's music. And I kind of talked about the history of where that came from and my perspective and my take on it. And so, now I have you here, so I just want to discuss it. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So is rock music the devil's music?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, why? Like, just give your history. What has been your experience with rock music growing up in whichever type of household you had? Because
I grew up in a very religious household. Okay. Very religious. We went to church like every time it was open. We were there.
Right. So Mama C, she was very religious.
Very religious.
Okay.
And there was a lot of things that I couldn't do. There was a lot of things that I couldn't watch, read, or listen to.
Really?
So in my household, even the Spice Girls was considered like, because the way they dressed, and Scary Spice was a little too scary, I suppose.
Right.
And I wasn't allowed to listen to.
So how did Mama C view rock music?
It was called like worldly music. Like it had spirits and demons. Couldn't listen to that because that was ungodly.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I definitely couldn't listen to, rock music.
Right.
Anything like that. And I remember Marilyn being told, Marilyn Manson was like evil and, a Satan worshiper and like all of this kind of stuff. And, it was hard growing up because so many things that other kids were able to do, I wasn't able to do.
Right.
Like enjoy books like Goosebumps.
Right.
I've never read a Goosebump book, and it was weird because when you start being able to like really think for yourself and try to make sense of it,
right.
The older I got, the more sense it didn't make.
Okay. Now that makes a lot of sense with a lot of things, because it opens the door for you to kind of find things for yourself. And so that was kind of the same experience I had when I was younger. When I was growing up, as I've told you guys in my Pink Floyd reaction, my father, he kind of had this secret collection of music that he listened to, which was full of, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles.
Wow, I didn't see that coming.
Well, my dad, he listened to a lot of different groups, and he listened to like the blues and old school rock and funk and all that stuff. And so when I confronted him about that, he told his explanation to me was, he was like, well, we're black. and I didn't think you guys would be interested in that. And so we had grew up listening to hip hop. But my mother, as well as my siblings and a lot of my friends, black friends that I grew up with, they gave that perspective of rock was evil, you know, and coming as I got older and doing a little bit of research, white people's music, right? And so as I got older and did a little research, you know, you just find out the roots of the blues and rock, and you know how a lot of that was rooted in the gospel. And what I feel like, for my own personal, you know, I don't know if there's research out there about it or anything, but from my own thoughts, I just feel like the church felt like they were losing. Threatened. They felt threatened. Yep. They felt threatened when the blues came around.
It's and like, so somebody else gonna take our money.
Take their money. And so
we get their money in the collection basket.
Right. They started a war in the blues back in like the 20s or the 30s or 40s or whenever.
Probably early. Yeah.
Maybe earlier than that. Yeah. And they were like, you know, don't go spend your money out in the juke joint, listening to that devil's music. You need to stay in the church. And that way they can keep people tithing and, you know, and give them the money. And so they started this war on blues and later on the rock music because they wanted to keep that money. And so I feel like that's where it was rooted as being devil's. That's where it started, being devil's music. And then from there, like when they had the Satanic Panic in the 80s and stuff, bands started to play that up. You know, they started, you're like, you know, you guys already think we're Satanists anyway, so we're just going to do it for shock value. Yeah. You know, and it just carried on, especially in the black community, you know, a lot of, you know, as rock and roll started being taken over more by white artists, a lot of black artists stopped doing it because they would associate it with being evil music. And so I think that a lot of black artists, they started doing like more funk and then R&B and majority now into hip hop, you know what I'm saying? But growing up during those times, it was still somewhat difficult because people were still associated with being evil and devil's music. So how do you feel about it now?
Well, I honestly feel the church has always kind of did something like this. It's kind of like the witch burnings and, you know, stuff like that. But it's like you're fearful of something that you don't understand. Right. Yeah. You know, and I'm kind of glad you eased me into this because it's really been a journey for me. And I just find it really interesting how judgmental people are and how that's passed on to you.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's really scary though. It's really scary how, you know, because your parents or your grandparents didn't understand it, or they were told like if you do this or you listen to this you're gonna burn in hell. So that was like, okay, I don't want to burn in hell, let me teach my children, then your children teach their children, and it's like then it's just ingrained in you. And it's like it's music.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's what's even more crazy is the fact that there's so many people out there that are missing out on these great bands. They're missing out on bands like Black Sabbath, you know, Metallica, Megadeth, and you know, only because of that negative association. You know, and I think that that's why there has been this huge explosion of black reactors venturing off into this genre of music that they were told was evil and that they shouldn't listen to. And so now it's like you have kids who have listened to, like us, who have listened to hip hop and R&B our whole lives, and you listen to these bands and you hear
it's like, wow, what is this?
Right, exactly. You hear the emotion and you hear the feelings and you feel the effort that they put into these songs, and you're like, wow, this is mind blowing. Never knew this kind of stuff existed. You know?
Yeah, it's just like opening up a gift.
Yeah, it's like exactly. It's like babe, I couldn't have said it better. It's like opening up. Sometimes when you hear some of these bands, or when you look forward to some of these bands, it's like opening a gift on Christmas Day. If you guys know the excitement that a child has, because even for me, I've become because of this reaction channel, I've become a huge Megadeth fan. And I know you're a huge Metallica fan.
Yeah.
But it's one thing that's really cool about this is that discovering this genre of music, it's like you have just a plethora of excellent bands and great catalogs to go through. And so I don't see either one of us running out of content to listen to anytime soon.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
But it's also like learning history, because I feel like this is just being lost. It's like, sometimes when you find like artifacts and you have like the archaeologists and it was like, oh, we found this.
Oh, right, yeah.
And kind of that's how I feel like a lot of times, like we're discovering and we're uncovering and feel like a rock archaeologist.
Okay, I like that.
It's like really cool
right,
because it just has, for us in our generation, this music has been lost.
Yeah. And
it would be such a shame for the next generation or our children, a Metallica song comes on and they're like, who is that?
Yeah. Right. Or they've heard of Metallica and they just associate it with it being devil's music or evil music.
Yeah.
So one last thing I want to talk about with this topic is just the differing views and perspectives, because I do understand a lot of you will mention that there are bands out there that do worship the devil and worship Satan, and they like to express that in their songs. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, that's their choice, but you shouldn't paint a whole genre one color because of a couple bands.
Right, exactly. Right. Well, the other thing is that I think that music is an artistic expression. And so just like I was saying in one of my the Iron Maiden videos, I guess because of our demeanor and how we come off on some of these videos, one of the subscribers who, I guess maybe they were trying to troll or they were just being really extra. They thought we were like super religious, but he made a comment and he was like, the devil's going to eat your babies and hail Satan. And, I just thought that was really silly, because my thing is that whether you want to make satanic music or if you want to make music like Cannibal Corpse, in which you're talking about extreme violence and stuff, we look at it as an artistic expression. We take it all in. We don't judge. We'll criticize it if it's a good song or not. But whatever you want to make music about, it's completely up to you.
It's a free country.
Absolutely. Free country, freedom of speech. And my thing is that we're not going to judge you on the content of what the song is about, but we're going to judge you on if the song is good or not. You know what I'm saying?
And if I don't like it, I don't have to listen to it again.
Absolutely.
But...
Because I'll tell you this. Iron Maiden has made some crazy ass songs with some crazy ass lyrics. But that shit will have you grooving.
Yeah.
It's
like, I like this.
Right, yeah.
Oh, but I feel guilty. What did you
say?
Exactly.
Right. And I have you dancing and be like, slaughter the Indians, make them run to the hills. Shoot the unborn children.
Yeah,
and you'd be like, what?
Yeah, but I really like the form of storytelling that a lot of these bands have.
Absolutely. It's poetry.
But it also changes your perspective too.
Yeah.
So I really think that, and I'm really happy that people have been so open with sharing their knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
And just so inviting with us, experiencing this music for the first time.
Okay.
Like, I really do appreciate that because, I did feel some type of way when you first started having me do reaction videos, and I was just like, oh God, like, what are people gonna say? They don't want me listening to this music. And you might have a 1%
we have had
people that are like that. But for the most part, everybody has been so inviting. And that's why I say, music can
change perspectives,
heal the world,
heal the world,
and of so many because I really feel like hatred and everything is just really one big misunderstanding.
Yeah, I agree.
So
yeah, so we did have a little bit of that, but that's one thing that concerned me as well when I started the channel. But that's one thing. It's something else I will say about this whole the metal rock community is that I was kind of apprehensive because I'm a black guy listening to music that was deemed white music. And I wasn't sure what to expect with doing this channel.
Or would be accepted.
Or if we would be accepted or whatever. And, people in this community have been so welcoming and so open. And it's truly amazing because it's something that we wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an eye-opener. And I want to shout out to all of our subscribers. I want to shout out to you guys who support us on Patreon. Anybody who has supported us just on this channel. We thank y'all so very much from the bottom of our hearts. And we want to hear your stories as well. If you've had any experiences growing up listening to rock music, metal music, people criticized you or called you names or just talked about, even your parents talking about this music being devil music, leave your stories and your comments down below in the comment section. We read every single comment, and we just love to hear from you guys. But once again, thank you guys so very much. We hope you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to see us do more talk videos talking about certain topics, definitely leave your comments down below. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.